Hello, everybody. Ella Jay here for a Wrestling Gal, and I am here today with two fabulous guests to bring you some WWE Bad Blood predictions. At the time of recording this, it is the day before Raw, so there could be some stuff added last minute by the time this comes out. But before we get into all of that, I have to introduce my lovely guests. Of course, you've seen a familiar face, Jose Gonzalez, from my guest at this time and from Content with Creation. OLE. He's been expanding his brand. Jose, how are you?
I'm great, Ella. It feels like I've been everywhere and nowhere at the same time because we had such a jam-packed August. I mean, SummerSlam came and went. Then September kind of took a lull, and then it's picking back up in October. So living the dream.
Yes. I am so excited for October. Fall is my favorite time of year, not only because it's my birthday, but we get Bad Blood. We're getting some Hell in a Cell. I'm here for the spooky vibes. I got my spooky background going. Of course, I'm also joined by Auntie Collins, one of the hosts on Wrestling Made Me Cry. Honestly, wrestling makes me cry a lot. So I better be we'll have to work out something for the future. Collins, how are you today?
I am doing great. It's been a podcasting day. So I podcasted this morning. I did a little pre-record earlier today, doing all the things, getting ready for the week, right?
I know it is Sunday at the time of recording this, like we said. So we're about 6 days out from WWE Bad Blood. We've got five matches officially. Probably gonna be a sixth one added. I'd be surprised if Gunther versus Sami Zayn was not added after all this buildup they've been doing. Perhaps Jey Uso could have his first title defense. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens on Raw. But first, we will go through the first official card. Collins, since it's your first time here on a Wrestling Gal, what match would you like to start with talking about today?
Let's talk about Damian Priest versus Finn Balor.
Yeah.
I am so excited about this because what they've been building in addition to their feud, the ongoing feud that we have seen for months. I mean, I got a little bit, turned on when when Damian Priest grabbed Finn Balor's face, like, oh, because you know that the ego of Finn Balor cannot be stifled. So there's going to be shenanigans like always. There's going to be something unpredictable as always. But something tells me that Finn Balor is going to come on top. And
We're
I
doing it
don't,
in the match, right?
yeah.
I knew he was gonna go there. I didn't want to bring it up though.
I mean, wrestling is gay. Hello.
Yep.
Yes.
But it's been confirmed it's in a steel cage, right?
No, it is not.
Is not.
It is just a straight up singles
It's
match.
just a straight up singles match. I think that they are missing the opportunity, right? I know that they're gonna do the Hell in the Cell with um Punk and Drew, but I feel like Finn has to win because how do they make this feud go further, right? How do they figure out who is the supreme of them all? And do we know that it's Finn Balor? Do we know that it's Damian Priest? Is that where we're going? Damian Priest has already been champion. People like me want to see Finn Balor get that champion spot again, but I don't know which title and when because there's a lot going on around the title sphere. But I don't know. I just feel like the nostalgia part of me wants to see Finn Balor on top, at least this time, and then maybe we'll get another match for Survivor Series, maybe. But I don't know. I think there has to be some sort of stipulation. We can't just do a singles match, but maybe that's just my violent heart speaking.
It could be. I mean, the thing is, I don't think it'll be a steel cage since we already have a shark cage and we have Hell in a Cell, which are both kind of cages themselves. Damian Priest, I know last week cut like a passionate promo, basically saying that like, is he his brother's keeper? And reminiscing or reflecting back on the troubles with the Judgment Day, Finn being jealous and all of that. I don't know.
Mhm.
I feel like what's a really personal stipulation? I mean, I don't know. It's really going to be Atlanta street fight. Maybe. I
Mm.
don't know, but I agree. I feel like a lot of these should have stipulations. This is the only one without like I mean, technically the tag match, there's no stipulation on it, but a tag match, I guess itself is a stipulation kind of. I don't
Yeah.
Well,
know.
I mean, you also think about
Um,
with that tag match, there's going to be some mayhem and
yeah.
foolishness. I wouldn't be surprised if they
Yeah.
change it to like a tornado tag at some point.
I mean,
Yeah.
but I mean, Finn Balor is only going to win if there is outside interference. I've been a Punishment Martinez fan for a very long time. So I feel like Finn Balor has to win to continue this feud so that we can actually get to a stipulation. I don't know.
Yeah. No, no, I have the same exact thoughts because you're thinking, I'm like, I thought this might end, like these feuds might, I think Liv and Rhea might end here. But I don't think Damien's gonna
Mhm.
be done with the Judgment Day because, like you said, Survivor. Granted, I think we have Crown Jewel ahead of time. But they start prepping for Survivor Series like before that, anyways. So I don't know if it's gonna be War Games or if we're going back to the traditional like elimination tags because it's just Survivor Series, from what I understand, no War Games has been attached to it. So either way,
It's
I
War
feel like it
Games.
is it? Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I think either way you would have definitely the Judgment Day. Granted, they could also do the Bloodline. I think we're either gonna get another Judgment Day or a Bloodline War Games. And if they're going to go if they're gonna go Judgment Day War Games, then I say yes, you have Finn Balor win here.
Mhm.
And then Damien and company, probably Jey Uso, Ilya Dragunov. We've been seeing siding with Jey Uso and Damien recently. That's three. Then they just need a fourth. So
Oh,
I think in that
so good.
scenario, then you have Damien and Ilya and Jay win against the Judgment Day. So for right now, I think I also have to go with Finn Balor to kind of set it up because Finn turned on Damien. He got 1 point. Damien and Rhea beat Finn and Liv 1 point, or
Mhm.
so it's 1-1. Finn beats Damien, but then it's 2-2. Then do you go Rumble or day one? Or the Netflix. I don't know. Then you have to go on to whatever Netflix is. Go on, Jose. But that's what I'm thinking. I have Finn winning as well.
So I have a theory. So I do see Finn winning. I definitely think there's going to be interference because it's a Judgment Day match. Why wouldn't there be interference? I mean, we're also like, we'll touch on the women's world title match later in the show, but I will say kind of my vision for where things are going to go. It will also involve the result of that match. Obviously, you want to protect Damien and Rhea because you've built them up to be really big, credible contenders to whatever they're doing, just with how much they've dominated the year between like Money in the Bank and the world titles, between Rhea coming back from injury and like really trying to find her footing. Like they practically carried Monday Night Raw for the better part of the year, no doubt about it. Now, the big thing that I can see happening is I feel like JD definitely is going to help screw Damien out of the win. So Finn wins that. Yes, I know we will get into the world title stuff. I'm going to assume that somehow, some way, Dominic's still going to throw something to Liv and then Liv beats Rhea. I still am in the minority, but I'm holding out for a world tag team title match, whether it's going to be at Survivor Series or on Raw, like when things happen, where it's going to be JD McDonough and Finn Balor versus Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. I can totally see that being the gateway to getting Rhea into doing some intergender stuff, and it's extremely believable considering how much she's thrown around the guys of the Judgment Day already. So,
Especially JD.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, she threw around Carlito last time too. Dominic, obviously, like it. If there was ever a way to kind of gateway into more intergender wrestling, especially now that we're going to have Raw going back to 2 hours before the move to Netflix, they can like loosen the reins a little bit. That's going to be the way that you do it in a way that's not only like tasteful for the WWE palette, but it makes total sense because you also get to finally free up the women's world title from Judgment Day since it was switched over from the SmackDown women's title. You can have Liv actually wrestle on TV. You could actually build a storyline that's not centered around the Judgment Day for the title. And more importantly, have women be the storyline for the Women's World Championship.
That's a novel concept.
What a concept. Who
Yeah.
would have thought?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we kind of have to talk about the WWE Women's World Championship
Yeah.
match now, kind of segues,
Natural segue.
Yes, we have Liv Morgan defending against Rhea Ripley with Dirty Dominic Mysterio being suspended above the ring in a shark cage, which is going to be absolutely hilarious. I do have to agree with Jose on that. Dominic is either going to have something in his pocket and he drops it down to Liv, or there's going to be some like other Judgment Day, like Carlito or JD, somebody who isn't wrestling on the pay-per-view. It's going to be one of those scenarios. Where does Liv go from there though? I don't know. But like you said, hopefully then we finally get actual like her and women's storylines that are outside of the Judgment Day and Rhea. Hopefully they can close the chapter at least on Liv and Rhea. But then again, though, it's kind of also evening the score, so I don't know if they'll be done or not. But I do have Liv Morgan retaining nonetheless to once again beat Rhea Ripley with the help of somebody. Collins, will go to you.
I think this was where I was going back and forth of going, okay, if we plan out the next couple months like this, if Liv wins, does Rhea win the Rumble again and come back for it WrestleMania 41?
I
I
don't
think you gotta cut
I
it.
don't think that that's going to happen.
I think is when you have Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair waiting in the wings, one of those is definitely going to be happening at the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
At least what I feel. I mean, Rhea winning wouldn't be a bad option, but I think the bigger shock is going to be Becky or Charlotte returning in the Women's Rumble.
Returning, right?
Yeah.
I agree. So if we're gonna try to capitalize on how hot Rhea is, I mean, here's the thing: you go on shop, the WWE shop, it's Rhea and Bloodline and Cody. You go to any WWE thing, it's like, who is the main woman who is getting that main attention right now? It is Rhea Ripley. People who are not even involved in wrestling will post things about Rhea Ripley, mostly because she is so hot, so fire, doing cool wrestling things that makes it look like, oh my God, this is cool wrestling. So I feel like Rhea's gonna get the title here, and I think Liv, Liv getting away from the title picture, but still having like a vendetta against Rhea. Maybe at Crown Jewel, she gets a rematch and loses, but I think if they're going to capitalize on Rhea with how hot she is now, they have to put that title back on her somehow. But I wonder how the shark cage is going to get involved with this, because I'm thinking of all the other shark cages that I've seen in WWE, and they have all been shenanigans based. I mean, namely the James Ellsworth, oh my gosh, Carmella match was just like, I think that wrestling is the best when it's pure wrestling or when it's shenanigans. Right? Give me wild, crazy interference, like the kookiest, wildest thing that you could only do that is special on a pay-per-view, because that's, I think, where you have your memorable moments. Yes, as a wrestling purist like me, I remember those very good, like, pure wrestling matches, because I am an ROH fan. But then I always remember and go back to the shenanigans, the surprise appearances, the shark cage matches. Like, give me a stipulation and I'm going to have a memory attached to it. So I want this to be one for the books. I really hope that it's not forgettable or just another Rhea Ripley loss. But those fans are hungry. They are hungry for Rhea Ripley.
Now that I'm looking, I'll have Jose go first and then just had a realization about my picks. Go on.
Yeah, so like I totally get where Collins is coming from. I mean, like, gotta strike while the iron's hot. I totally get that. I also think the Rhea's too big for the women's world title at this point, because then it's going to be something where we go back to the reign that she just had, where she wasn't defending it, where she was constantly interfering with the men's stuff. I feel like at this point in 2024 going into 2025, that's kind of where you start to bridge the gap with Rhea in the women's division. I could totally see a case where she's going to lose. I don't know. It doesn't have to be clean, or I guess if we're trying to move her away from the women's division, it wouldn't hurt for it to be a clean win, especially because Liv has been her foil since the whole heel turn back in 2022 anyways. So I think them kind of having that finality after 2 years, ups and downs, title reigns, tag partnership, all that stuff. If Liv does finally win here, I think there needs to be that finality for Rhea to finally move into stuff with the men. Like, go after the world tag titles with Damian, or even once we move over to Netflix, we can finally have a contender for the Intercontinental Championship again. Because it's totally believable that she can make like China, where she could actually bridge that gap. I could see her and Jey Uso having a great match that doesn't even need to have like the hokey, like flirtatious storyline to it. Like, you want to talk about a credible contender being a badass, holding the title for over a year. Probably the biggest draw we've seen on Raw in quite some time. Organically, I feel like she's beyond the women's division, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's a different way they could strike while the iron's hot and still also make sure that you're not burying anybody in the process, because I don't see her winning the Rumble. I don't see her winning the world title again. Definitely have her finagle, like, work with the guys again. And at least that way you have so many other people that you could build up in the process, and also have so many returning stars get a little bit of time to shine without ruining what you have with Rhea.
Yeah, we want to see what she can do. Granted, she's been without the title, but it's still been in the title circuit. We want to see what she can do without the title and outside of the title scene. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Raw Netflix is gonna be. I feel like even after this, if Liv does win, I feel like maybe they're not done yet, because War Games Survivor Series is right around the corner. But I feel like once we hit like December Netflix, then I feel like then is gonna be the real true chapter of Rhea again, assuming she doesn't take the title. Then obviously we're gonna get another Rhea reign. But as I'm looking through these matches, I'm realizing I have all of the heels winning except for one, technically two. Didn't plan that. It has to do what it is. But we'll go from obviously one women's division to another. Officially, we saw on SmackDown, Bayley defeated Naomi to become the number one contender to the WWE Women's Championship. So she will be challenging Nia Jax for that title at WWE Bad Blood. Bayley just lost it. It'll be 2 months and 2 days at the time of Bad Blood. It feels a little too soon for me to have her win it back, especially after all this tension we've been getting with Nia Jax and Tiffany. I feel like the only way Bayley might win it back here is if they pull the trigger on Tiffany. But I think Tiffany could cash in on Bayley or Nia Jax personally, and it would work, because we saw the tease, Nia Jax was low-key choking out Tiffany, and then Tiffany was at the end like, oh, you just messed up, girl, you done fucked up. So that Tiffany cash in is going to be coming soon. I don't know if it's going to be here or if it's going to be at Crown Jewel or on SmackDown, but it's going to be happening soon. If it's gonna happen here, it could be on either Nia or Bayley, but personally, I think it would be more effective for it to be on Nia, but then that also low-key sucks that both her reigns end by being cashed in on. But I feel like the story's there. I know. I feel like that kind of sucks, but it makes sense with Tiffany. I don't know if a cash-in's gonna happen, but I have Nia Jax retaining here. Jose, what are your thoughts?
So I'm also thinking that Nia does retain here. No disrespect to Bayley. I feel like this year's been a transformative year for her,
Yeah.
especially after finally getting some momentum again from the ACL return to the disbandment of the whole damage control stuff that we had going on SmackDown, her winning the big one at WrestleMania, which is kind of crazy to think that, yeah, she's retained the title at 2 different WrestleManias before, but this was the WrestleMania moment, because you have one where it's a fatal four-way. She's won like with an elbow drop. Yay, she retained. She's a hugger. And then you have one that happened during the pandemic where she had that 5-way elimination, and then just, yeah, Sasha helped. Like, this finally feels like the most complete version of Bayley that we've had in her whole 10-year career. It's awesome to see, but also Nia's on a wave that we never thought she could be on, let alone the fact that she would have a second run with the company, and it's night and day compared to where she was before. So you have her really being this monstrous heel finally. She's gotten so much better in the ring. She's charismatic as all hell. And on top of that, now we have, like, for the first time really with a women's Money in the Bank winner, where the champion's really trying to do it. I fucking dare you. Like, she's trying to not only like take Tiffany under her wing, show her what a champion could be like, but she's not the one or the two. Like, I've been cashed in on before. I'm waiting for you to do it so I could call you out on it, and then you're probably gonna be the one that fails. I definitely see Nia retaining. However, I don't know if Tiffany's going to cash in on this pay per view. I feel like if anything, I want it to be probably, I could see if, depending on what brand gets women's War Games, I could see it happening after War Games, after the heels lose. And then Tiffany's like, no, we're inside a cage. There's no time like the present. I'm doing it now. And that could be when she does it. I feel like Tiffany might make her presence known. I feel like Naomi might make her presence known in the process too. Maybe Bailey gets distracted, and that's what kind of leads to the win again, similar to SummerSlam. But I feel like if anything, we're going to see and still, even going into after the pay per view or the PLE, whatever we want to call it, and still WWE Women's Champion Nia Jax.
Agree. Collins, you got your notes. Tell us about them.
Okay, so I first off have to say I hate a failed cash in. I understand why it happens. I understand that there is a chance, right? Let's not pretend that these aren't predetermined matches and storylines. So for us to be like, oh, let's just have a failed cash in on this one. Like, I feel so bad for like Baron Corbin. Like, it's still to this day of like, oh, that's
if any
such a
woman
wasted...
was going to have a failed cash in and it be effective / successful, it would have been Chelsea Green. But this is not Chelsea Green. This is Tiffany Stratton.
Right. This is Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah.
And the fact is, like, this is her first full year on the main roster. What an awesome way to be like, okay, first year I got the, women's Money in the Bank, but why would we end cap the year with losing it? I love the little purse bag, or what, I love that it's pink. I love that that's part of the gimmick, but I also would never F with a pink girly, because there is something so rooted in their bloodstream that is just that level of psychotic that would ruin my life. And yes, Nia Jax has been cashing on before. I think of that match quite often because I've always been such a Nia Jax fan. I mean, Nia Jax and I have a very similar body type. So seeing that body type in a wrestling space and be respected and not a butt of a joke has been, like, I don't know, emotional for me. But she's definitely shed some weight. She is taking it way more seriously this run. She has really refined her skills, knowing that she is that powerhouse. Having that on the roster has been really great this time around. Nia Jax is going to retain, and that doesn't say anything bad about Bailey, like already, both of you mentioned already. But I didn't really like their previous match. I'm not sure what they could come up with during this one match, beginning, middle, and end. I do think it's too early for Tiffy to be cashing in, but then I go, when is the right time? Because that choke out, you can't choke out a pink girly without having some sort of retaliation. If they were smart, they would play into it of, I don't know, if they're going to do like a Eddie Guerrero spot or something where behind her back, she hits Nia. And then as Nia is slowly turning around, she goes, oh shit. And she goes on the floor and throws the briefcase to Bailey, and Bailey's holding the briefcase like, like a Eddie Guerrero spot. But then it keeps that, you better watch your back, bitch, like kind of formality between them so that those tensions keep going, because I don't think that we're fully at the point where it's time to release. I think we got to keep brewing it. But other than that, Nia Jax definitely retains, and I want to see more feuds with her. I was very disappointed that it wasn't Naomi, because Naomi, this run has been excellent. She proves that she is that veteran, that she is the I don't know, it's thinking of like in war times, right? You have like your watchmen, the watchmen are watching, to see who's coming through the gates. Your first line of defense is Naomi, and she's the person that's there to see if you are up to the caliber or not. And kind of wish that it was Naomi, but I understand it. But I don't know. It makes me excited about the women's division, which, granted, WWE always does such a great job with their women's division since, well, the pandemic, I guess. But
Yeah.
Yeah. We do have one more episode of SmackDown to go, so maybe I'm not, again, I'm also like you. I feel like I need a little bit more to be convinced. There's so much more they could do with Nia and Tiffany. I kind of want to see more. So they could go all out on this next episode of SmackDown and really, really pull the trigger on that and then have Tiffany cash in. I don't know, but I feel like you said, there's so much more they can do to build this up. This was really just the first seed. We saw, Nia kind of choke her out, and then Tiffany has that phase. I feel like there's a little bit more they can do. But do they do it at like a crown jewel? That's like, I
There's
mean, it
no
could,
way in hell they would do
yeah,
a cash in Saudi unless
yeah,
like they are bringing the house to like, no, we're gonna take the cash in here. Yes, it's still women's cash in, but it's a cash in nonetheless. We're also gonna have Raw there too after they do Crown Jewel. So maybe for once you can tease Tiffany thinking about cashing in on the women's world champion anyways, because Money in the Bank has never been brand specific unless it was just men on Raw versus men on SmackDown. Since they've had the women's Money in the Bank, the only time it was ever brand specific was when they first introduced it in 2017 because it was SmackDown only to begin with. Ever since they
yeah,
brought back the whole like unified pay-per-views and everything, anything's fair game. We saw Liv on Raw cash in on Ronda Rousey when she was on SmackDown. So you could definitely play up that. I mean, I don't think she would go back down to NXT, but if you want to like pour salt in the wound of Roxanne Perez, you could have her show up in Chicago and be like,
that
"Ooh, I'm
complicates
watching you,
things
girl."
even more.
I mean, I'm just saying you have so many
Yeah,
different ways that you could
yeah.
build up a Money in the Bank cash in without it having to be the physical cash in. That it's just a lot of opportunities. I'm excited to see how they do it. Although it does, I mean, to echo Colin's response about Naomi kind of like not getting this opportunity, it's kind of crazy to me because I feel like her stuff in TNA was kind of the run of her career. I feel like for the
yeah,
first time in so long, she was taken seriously. She had a great long championship reign. She was having banger after banger match with whoever she was in the ring with, whether it was Deonna Purrazzo, Giselle Shaw, Jordan Grace, Alicia Edwards. She brought out some fun stuff with too. I mean, if you gave her more opportunities like she was getting in TNA before coming back, it really could have revitalized her as a big time deal in WWE just because of the fact that she has that history there. We haven't seen her hold a championship, a singles championship, since 2017. Yeah, she was the tag champions before
Crazy.
she left with Sasha Banks at the time, but she hasn't had a PLE singles title match since Super Showdown in 2020 or 2019. That singles match with Bayley in Saudi Arabia was the last time she had a title match on a PLE for a singles championship. Everything after that's been tag matches or multi-woman matches. It's a wasted opportunity because we know she can go when the big lights are on. I mean, we've seen so many different ways that she could bring out the best in her, whether it's going against someone like a Charlotte Flair, having a banger on a SmackDown in a main event match there, whether it's a match she just had with Bayley on SmackDown recently, going back to TNA, that Bound for Glory match with Mickie James, the stuff with Jordan Grace at Hard to Kill. Like, she can go when she's given the opportunity to go. It just kind of stinks that it's been a lot of stop and go with the way that they've been booking her. She might win the Speed Championship tournament. I know she did have that match with EO for the semifinals. I haven't seen any spoilers yet, so I don't know who went over. It would be cool to see her win the Speed Championship, even though she ain't going to bring it on TV because that's the deal they have with X. I think it's kind of dumb, but if we finally get a women's mid-card championship and they don't want to put her back in the world title picture, she's at the top of the list along with the Chelsea Greens, along with the Meechins, the Lyra Valkyrias. You have so many women that are ready for another way to showcase the division. Yeah, it's been nice having like little side stories here and there, but I mean, you want to give them something worth fighting for. This is your way to do it.
You want a spoiler on the Speed?
Go ahead. Did EO win?
Yes, she did.
So we're getting EO versus Candice in the finals. Let's go. All right.
I feel like too another factor to consider, as somebody's been pointing out, if and when Nia or Tiffany cashes in, she's gonna be a baby face. We're really just I feel like this is gonna be a slow
Is she
burn.
going to be a baby face?
I don't know.
I don't think
feel
either
like
of them would be a baby face, to be real.
Do you think so?
There's no way the Tiffany
one
Stratton
would be
character
cheered.
works as a face, and then there's no way
I
this
don't
current
know.
version of Nia Jax works as a face.
Chelsea Green has been cheered, and she's a heel.
But Chelsea is also like very much a comedic heel. Like
She's
there's not
camp.
Chelsea I could see turning
Yeah.
face
Yeah,
without having to change anything, and it makes
that's
sense.
true.
Tiffany, it doesn't make sense
Mm,
because she's still like the stuck up like
mm.
Nepo
Okay.
baby bitch that she used to be in NXT 2.0.
Hmm.
And then you have Nia Jax who's like the sarcastic asshole and finally like feeling her oats enough to be like, no, I'll sit on you.
Mm,
I
we'll
win.
see.
No, no.
And maybe it doesn't, but I feel like this is going to be a slow burn cash, and there's so much more they could do. But regardless, I think we all have Nia Jax retaining here.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. And I'm sure
Okay.
someone has an edit of her choking out Tiffany backstage on SmackDown to Please, Please, Please by Sabrina Carpenter since that viral tweet of Jennifer Lopez choking out Sabrina Carpenter on SmackDown.
I did see that. I saw that tweet.
The
Oh my
bangs were
god.
banging.
Oh,
Oh my
send that to
God.
me. I need it.
I want to
Oh.
talk about another potential title match that has not officially been added yet, but I would be surprised if they didn't, considering they keep teasing it. I'm talking about the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Sami Zayn has been, requesting a title match for weeks now, and every time Gunther has shot him down. Even when Sammy beat Ludwig Kaiser, even when Sammy stood tall with Bret Hart, Gunther has just been like, no, no, no. I feel like if they're gonna add any match, it would be this one. Um, do I see Sammy winning? No, but it would be a banger of the match, and I'm here for it. If this match gets added, I feel like we're probably all on the same wavelength. I have Gunther retaining. I like Nia. I also think it's too soon because a lot of these champions coming in just won titles at SummerSlam. I think it's too soon for Gunther to lose. I feel like he'll be heading into 2025 as the new champ. Where is our heads at, Collins, for a potential Gunther versus Sami Zayn?
It's gonna be Bang City population, those two. They're gonna absolutely take the house down because I mean there hasn't been a Gunther match that I haven't been like, wow, that was a stinker. There's never been a Gunther match that I've been like, wow, that was stinky. Didn't like that one. No, he always has matches that I'm like, outside of anything or whatever the booking is, if I just were to watch that a la carte, I would be like, holy mother. Because he is that wrestler. He is that legitimate, brute force, right? That's how people used to feel about Brock Lesnar. That's how people have felt, about other I'm not going to talk about other canceled wrestlers that are big, but
That's fair.
one of them has blocked basically everybody. But still, it's like that. I love watching a car crash. So give me Sami Zayn in a freaking car crash. Sami Zayn matches are very I guess formulaic, right? He gets
Yes.
his butt kicked for most of the match, and somehow he weasels his way into a really good, 2 count, almost three, 2.5555. And whether he wins it by the skin of his teeth, or he loses it and he gives up everything. He lays everything out on the line. And I feel like Gunther is going to give him one of those matches where he's just getting his ish kicked in and he's going to have a good comeback. And everyone's going to go, oh my gosh, could he win? Could he win? Because the fans are so behind Gunther that it's hard for me to perceive that they would be so welcome to Sammy just, steamrolling him. That's not going to happen. But we are going to see a good banger of a match. Gunther is going to win. It's going to be kind of Sami Zayn formulaic where, he gets his butt kicked. And then in the end, he's going to put everything on the line. It's going to be a 2.5555, 990, whatever, uh, quick, whatever. And then Gunther's going to do what he does. And it's going to be 1, 2, 3. There are the lights. There's the crowd. And he's gonna really showcase it. But Sammy doesn't, lose anything if he loses. He just he's gonna be professional about it and put on a banger of a match. So give me Banger City with all the bangers.
Jose.
Yeah, I mean, I like my bangers with mash usually, a little bit of butter, some peppers and onions, But I mean, honestly, I feel like this is the first time that we can say that Sami Zayn is poised for a championship opportunity, and he's not the underdog. Because we think about it, WrestleMania, he was the one to end that historic
Hmm.
666-day Intercontinental title reign from Gunther clean. That's something that no one's been able to do in almost 2 years. I mean, the last time I honestly think Gunther's lost a title clean was when he lost the UK title to Ilya Dragunov,
Ilya.
which is
Mm.
someone that we also want to see challenge him during this reign. So, I mean, regardless of however the outcome goes, it's going to be Gunther winning, by the way. But I mean, there's going to be just a performance because we have Sammy with a chip on his shoulder going into this match, who's really trying to think of like, damn, how much further can I push him? Because I've already gotten him down once. If I hit the haluva kick, it's gonna be over. We
Hmm.
see how many times Gunther's gonna try to foil him as the ring general. You're gonna see like him getting Sammy in the ropes. You're gonna see him getting thrown around. You're gonna see him locked into some very painful submission moves. You're gonna see him striking the hell out of him. And Sami
Oof,
Zayn's gonna keep coming, standing back up because that's what Sami Zayn knows. He knows how to stay in the fight until his body physically tells him stay down. So
exactly.
it's going to be
Exactly.
a battle of attrition, but Gunther, should this actually make its way to the PLE, will definitely
It
retain.
should, honestly.
Yeah.
Honestly, it should. Like, there's only so many weeks. I would be like, it would be stupid for them to drop this. Just have Gunther keep saying no. Sami Zayn doesn't give up.
They'll
He's
try to
gonna
put the
keep
match on
going.
Raw, knowing them.
Possible. But I think this is a PLE worthy match, especially considering Sammy beat Gunther at WrestleMania. They've already proven that's a big stage worthy match. But I do agree that Gunther would be retaining here. We have two more matches on the card. I don't know what's true. I don't even know which one is main eventing. I'm seeing mixed reports of Hell in a Cell is main eventing. I'm seeing the tag team match main eventing. So who knows?
I'm about a Roman
Personally,
Reigns match is main event, but that's just me.
I think Hell in a Cell should be main eventing. Because that's like the tradition of Bad Blood. So we'll talk
I think
about
it should definitely. Will it? No.
we'll see. We'll talk about that though. Tradition, Hell in a Cell. We have the ultimate grudge match. They are 1-1 against each other. I guess technically Drew has won with an asterisk because he was the one who injured Punk. I don't know, but they're 1-1 against each other. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. I want to go last on this because I have a theory based on somebody else's theory. So we'll start with Jose on this one.
All I'm gonna say is, for the first time in almost 15 years, we're gonna have a Hell in a Cell match with blood. God damn it!
Yeah.
I missed it. Oh my god, it's not a yearly tradition. We finally have a feud that warrants it. Let them get color. I mean, it's time. Like, I
Hmm.
want to see some fucked up, like, I want to see some Triple H Batista levels of violence. Like, let them go. Let them do what they want to do, because clearly they hate each other to that point where if we have to contain them inside of that kind of structure and just let their devious minds go at it, let them do it. I feel like this is finally going to be where they cap it off once and for all, and I feel like Punk's going to get his big win here because I feel like since he's been on the second run, he really hasn't had like many moments just because of his ill-time injury in the Royal
Yeah.
Rumble match and then also losing at SummerSlam. Yeah, the strap match was it was fun. It wasn't anything like too crazy. Just felt like it was kind of a lot of like tug of war, obviously, because you have to touch all four corners. But I feel like this is going to be where you could really get a lot out of both him and Drew, because who's going to be the bigger asshole? Who's going to be more sadistic? Who wants to harm the other one the most? And who's going to finally let go of their mind and just follow their heart telling them, I'm going to rip it out of their fucking chest? I feel like this is going to be a good one. It's probably going to be a match of the year contender. And I think CM Punk's going to win.
Mm.
Collins.
Jose, that was so good, so well put. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I think this is the best feud out of 2023 in WWE. I was a little bit lost with the bracelet aspect, but what bigger of a grudge does anyone have on anyone other than CM Punk and Drew McIntyre? There's if there's a legitimate reason to be in Hell in a Cell, it is this point. I I mean, there have been a lot of Hell in a Cell matches that I don't think have required being in a Hell in a Cell. But I think back to the brutality of Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy, and I just think of the ear spot. You if you know, you know, you know.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I want to see something zoomed in like that. I want to see something so sadistic that like I have to cringe or I have
Like
to
CM
like,
Punk choking on those beads again, but like for real choking.
yeah, yeah. Put him in his eye, put him in his rectum. I mean, anywhere
I knew where that
like
was going. I shouldn't have said anything. I knew exactly where that was going.
I the bracelet thing is just the one part about this that I'm like, we're losing the concept of this, and the fact that it was for sale on Shop WE, it's just, I just, I'm not a fan of, you know, you know, I don't know, tchotchke kind of items that represents a feud that is literally, hey, I'm going to slit your throat. You know what I mean? Like, this
Mhm.
isn't about bracelets anymore. This is about, I'm going to end your life. And I agree. There should be some blood. There should be things in the Hell in a Cell that you aren't going to see in that street fight or in the strap match, which that strap match was perfect combination of brutal and like a little bit of comedy with the with that spot with CM Punk on his back where he's hitting the ring post and then CM Punk behind his back. Like that was a perfect amount of comedy, but this is not comedy. This is, I have to end your life. I hope that CM Punk does not get injured in this because his his poor frail body just seems to not hold up in matches like this. But I do see CM Punk winning as much as I want to see this feud continue because it is so good. I think that this is where it does end, and I want to see both of them do something else. But it's been 27 years since the first Hell in a Cell. Like,
Yeah.
I think we should see an homage. And
It'll
now
be
I want to go,
27 years to the day.
oh my
Do
gosh,
we
we
think
need
someone's fallen off the cell?
We'll get to that.
it.
Is he gonna
it
jump
better
from there?
it better not be Larry. It better not be Larry.
I was not even thinking, why would you put that into the universe?
Because who else is gonna fall
I
from the
think that's
cell? Punk?
A
animal
dog?
cruelty. That's animal cruelty on the
No,
air.
it
You know,
is.
arson
Collins,
is
it's not
one
a
thing.
Kennel from Hell match. It's a Hell in a Cell match.
You know, arson is one thing, but animal cruelty on television is a
Arson
whole
is one
other
thing.
thing, Collins. We do
Arson is
not
one thing,
support
animal
it.
cruelty is
Is
another. I
another.
beg you don't embarrass me, motherfucker.
Motherfucker. Oh my
Oh
god.
god.
Oh, but I'm just thinking who, like, if
It's gotta be Drew.
it's not gonna be Drew. Drew's already climbed up halfway and then fell, right? Like in that weird pandemic Hell in a Cell with Randall Keith Orton.
I mean, this feud has already reached new heights. Why not literally?
Be
Okay.
careful, boys.
Okay.
Just
So up until like a week and a half ago, I was fully on board with CM Punk winning. I'm like, he just came back. He's won 3 out of the 5 matches he's wrestled so far. 2 of them weren't even televised. So televised, he's only 1 and 2, right? You know, you want him to get another win under his belt. But I feel like I've been swayed, and it's because, you know, I do news writing for a living. I listen to so much content, you know, and I have to say I've convinced by a surprising person, WWE Hall of Famer Bully Ray on Busted Open made a good pitch. You don't necessarily need to win the match to win the war. I feel like you could have Drew McIntyre win the match to technically get up above, but similarly to Daniel Garcia and MJF, CM Punk at the end, whether it's he throws Drew off the cage afterwards or he lays out Drew at ringside, Drew goes out on a stretcher. Meanwhile, CM Punk is standing up above the cage looking down at a bloodied Drew McIntyre. He might have lost the match, but he won the war. Drew's the one going out on a stretcher, while CM Punk, even though he lost, you have that triumphant shot of, you know, he might have lost the match but won the war. The ending shot, to me, I've been convinced is going to be CM Punk looking down at a bloodied, stretchered Drew McIntyre.
Now, how do we get him to the stretcher? What do you think is going to do it? Because I feel like if they're going to go that route, I think for the first
You
time in
could
a
just
decade,
launch
you
Drew
have.
off
Well, I'm just saying,
afterward.
and if that's the case for the first time in like 15 years, since we're already going to have blood in this match, there's no doubt. I feel like we finally get another chair shot to the head. Now, that's a whole different can of worms. I know
Mhm.
people feel there's certain ways about it. Personally, I don't really care for them, but I feel like this is the most effective way to do it and add a sense of finality because when was the last time someone stooped to that measure in WWE? So whether that's the finish of the match or that's the post match, someone's getting cracked in the skull with a steel chair.
It could also happen. They could pull like an Ethan Page or a John Cena where, Punk goes for it, but and hits Drew, but he's so out of it he collapses. Drew
Yep.
falls on him and gets the count. Because they're so worn out. Drew
Yep.
just happens to fall on him. It
Either a
is
steel
Hell in a
chair to the head
Cell.
or a pile driver.
Yeah, they could be both so worn out. Drew just happens to fall on him. Punk can't get his shoulder up, and Drew wins. Punk somehow recovers, and then the ending shot to me, I don't know how you get to it. Could be Punk on top of the cage or just him in the ring. But for me, I have Punk coming out on top, just not winning the match. I have Drew McIntyre winning the match. Um, Drew, what is it? What was the wording he used? Drew McIntyre is put over, but CM Punk gets over at the end is what it is. Um it's a win-win
Wow.
for me personally.
Hmm.
I was once I heard that I was like, shit, I've been convinced. It is similarly CM Punk is going out with
Yeah.
a win, just not the win in the
No, that
match.
is a good
Um
theory. I wouldn't have thought of
so
it originally. So
Yeah, I
I'll
wouldn't
give
have.
credit where credit's due. And then it
so
just begs the question of, hey, Drew, how's your head?
Yeah, exactly. Drew McIntyre goes out on a stretcher even though he won. I feel like that would be the perfect ending, it's kind of a win-win. Drew gets the win, but CM Punk is the one left standing. Um
But
there
then
is
do they
definitely gonna
have
be blood though.
another match for CM Punk to finally win? I don't know. I don't think that CM Punk's ego would allow him to not win.
I don't
I
know.
don't think that CM Punk's ego would allow him to not see an epitaph and a tomb. What is that?
Is
What
this
is
gonna
this?
be the best of five? I don't know. I really kind of don't want
Is
it
this
to.
the World Series? I don't
I want to
know.
Yeah.
see CM Punk do other things since I want to see him
Yeah.
do other things. We have not seen him. We didn't get to see him wrestle Dominic, that was a thing, but other than that, all we've had is, him wanting to go at, well, you're going to have to build to Seth and Punk from Mania, so you have some time.
I mean,
You
do you
I
have him go over in the Royal Rumble this year?
very possible. I think that he was supposed to win Rumble, and then Cody was no, Cody was winning Rumble, Punk was winning Chamber was the plan. Um so he could win the Rumble in the next year. The plan, so from what I understand, is Seth and Punk. What do you do between Bad Blood and Royal Rumble? That's the
Do
question.
you have him and Gunther touch at all?
But also that would require no, I think so when Seth comes back, he's obviously going to go after Bronson Reed. If you're going to get Seth Rollins and CM Punk at WrestleMania, Seth's going to have to beat Gunther first.
Mm,
So I
But
don't
who
think so
says that
then.
Gunther has to be? Who says that Seth has to be the champion?
yeah.
That was the point. It was for the championship.
Well, I'm just
Oh,
saying you could
okay.
get to where Seth is fighting for the championship and Punk is the champion.
That's also true. Yeah,
I mean, there's more than one way to skin a cat. So
that's true. I just
Now we're
can't see.
skinning
I can't
cats.
see Punk beating Gunther. I can't. I can see
I
Seth
can't
beating
either.
Gunther. I can't see Punk beating Gunther.
I think the
Um,
way that Punk wrestles would not be a good
yeah,
fit
agreed.
for a Gunther win. So
hmm.
interesting theory. I'm enamored, and now I want to see it a little bit more than just being okay. They're just going to get some color in the match, and probably Drew McIntyre will leave in an ambulance to a local medical facility, and he won't be seen until maybe Royal Rumble, and he'll come back, and they'll both have a stare down in the Royal Rumble. Like that'll be kind of cute, cutesy. Like, oh, you
Hmm.
tried to kill me.
Punk could. I guess we were talking about war games earlier. The Ilya, Damien, Drew crew would need a fourth. It could be Punk. Judgment Day just goes after everybody.
I mean, here's my thing. Since we pretty much have it guaranteed that Bloodline's going to have a War Games match,
Mhm.
is it a year where they do 2 men's matches and no women's War Games? Or do you do a mixed tag War Games and let Liv get in with the Judgment Day team, let Rhea get in with the opposite team? Obviously, they don't have to start the match if you don't want the men hitting the women, but I mean, you could totally have Liv get in there and hit on the guys, or have Rhea in there hit on the guys, and then they just square off the rest of the match.
Now that I'm thinking about this more, I don't think you have the Bloodline do the War Games because who the hell besides Cody Rhodes is going to want to team with Roman Reigns? We've already seen Kevin Owens is not a fan. We'll transition into this match
I don't
now.
think it's so much that it's a want to team with Roman. It's just they hate the Bloodline that much that they'll let
Yeah.
bygones be bygones.
But can you see Randy, Kevin Owens putting that? No, they
I
were
could see
against.
Jey Uso putting it aside.
Mm-hmm.
But then you would have people coming over from Raw. I guess that could happen.
Didn't
Becky
you
came
have
over
that
from,
last year?
Yeah, possible, yes. But I feel like if Jey Uso's so enwrapped in the Judgment Day stuff, um, I don't know. I feel like it makes more sense for it to be Judgment Day
It could
because
be DIY.
Roman has less allies. But who knows? It could be DIY
Because what are
tag
they
titles.
doing?
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what
And
happens
either way,
once we get through this.
Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, they know a thing or two about War Games. They know many a
That's
thing or
true.
two about War Games. So if
Yes.
you're talking about people that want to like get Buck inside the cage, they're the two to probably do it.
I feel like if you do War Games, you have to have Roman in that match, though, like for sure.
Yeah.
We'll get into the final match of the night, though. Since we're talking about it, Cody Rhodes is teaming up with Roman Reigns, the OTC, versus the Bloodlines, Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. Obviously, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa will be lingering at ringside. Whether they're there or not the whole time, they'll be there at some point. Like the Judgment Day, they will pop up at some point in this match. The question is Kevin Owens and Randy Orton going to do the same for Cody and Roman? KO doesn't look very likely at this point. Randy Orton, it's a little bit iffy. They've been planting the seeds for this feud that I've been rawning for over a year now, for almost a year now since he returned. Eventually, we're gonna get Randy and Cody, and I'm ready for it. But we're not quite there yet. So Jose, where do you foresee the Bloodline against Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes going?
I feel like you have to have Roman and Cody winning this match. I feel like Bloodline has been too powerful. And I mean, you also have the fact that Solo lost the match at SummerSlam because Roman came back. Let Roman continue to be the foil of the Bloodline because he was the Bloodline. And especially now that we have the variable of, oh yeah, the night before, the tag titles are going to be in a ladder match. So who knows what condition Tama and Tonga are going to be in. Who also knows if they're going to even win the ladder match. Because if there's a safe way to take the titles off of the Bloodline, it's a triple threat of any sort. And especially one where they don't got to get pinned, or anybody has to get pinned. It's just beating the shit out of each other and climbing up and grabbing a belt or two. Like, I feel like if anything, it would surprise me if we did get new tag champs. I would be all here for it, and then you could kind of let them like be so enraged that they want to and get involved in the match. But obviously them having such a violent match the night before, that can take a toll on how much they're able to do. And then you could also have like maybe Randy comes out, maybe KO comes out, maybe Jimmy Uso comes out. Who knows? Like anything could happen, but I feel like you have to have Cody and Roman standing tall because you not only don't want to bury your world champion, especially because he's already gotten pinned in one of these matches against the Bloodline before where there's been no implications. But if you're going to have Roman Reigns really being the OG tribal chief, he has to win.
Paul Heyman's going to come in and low blow Tama Tonga.
I can't wait to see how this turns out.
I would love that. This is the only match that I have the baby faces winning. There are a couple matches where I was teetering, like Liv and Rhea, like you were saying, Collins. I could see Rhea winning. I was kind of teetering. But officially, this is the only match where I see the baby faces going over, that being Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. We've already seen, like Jose said, Cody pinned already once by the Bloodline, by Solo Sikoa. He's also been pinned by Roman Reigns. Cody has also pinned Roman Reigns. Cody's pinned Solo Sikoa. They as John Cena or as the DX and John Cena would say, we've all beaten each other. If you know,
and
you
that
know.
was just in the locker room.
If you know, you know. But yes, I agree. This is not a must win, but it kind of is, especially because it's what Roman's first match coming back since WrestleMania.
Yep.
He has to bounce back with a win, but it makes it more spicy because, like you said, you could have the bloodline lingering at ringside, Tama Tonga and Tongaloa. Cody and Roman could have Jimmy Uso, they could have Paul Heyman, could have KO. I don't foresee KO helping Roman. He could help Cody. Randy is also a wild card. He could come out help Cody and Roman. There's a lot of variables. It is a bloodline match. But regardless, Roman Reigns is not going to come back and lose. So for that reason alone, I'm going with Cody and Roman. Collins.
Oh my God. So this is the longest storytelling that we've had interwoven into WWE
Yes.
since 2020, right? Since we've seen those little pocket of seeds, right? 2022 when they formed together. I don't know. Time doesn't make sense to me. But what does make sense to me is that Roman came back at SummerSlam. I'm sitting here watching it going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, screaming at the top of my lungs. He's not coming back to lose. Like you said, it's there's no way. But how do we get to that point? Because there is also going to be a stare off between Roman and Jacob Fatu. Because I believe that Jacob Fatu not only was brought into WWE just to join the bloodline, but to have that banger of a match against Roman somewhere along the line. But it's going to mean something far more than just a singles match between the two. There's going to be that stare down because at that SmackDown, right, the first SmackDown on back on USA, the one that I was supposed to go to, I bought a ticket and then I decided I wanted to stay home. It's fine. I'm a little bit bummed, but that steel cage match at the end of the steel cage match, just seeing the way that Roman looked at Jacob Fatu was just it. I'm trying to think of like shades of like, you know, I don't know, Dragon Ball Z, thinking of like Vegeta looking at Goku, and they are going to touch at some point, just the two of them to see who is actually the legitimate tribal chief, right? And I think at that point, that's where Roman does hand the torch, but it is not now. So yeah, Roman and Cody are up on top. I do think that Randy is going to help Cody in some aspect. I don't know yet with I need to see one more episode to see if Kevin is going to, because we do need to plant those additional seeds for Randy versus Cody.
Which I think is going to be at Rumble, because if you're thinking it's going to be Cody and Rock at Mania and then Solo and Roman, you have to have some War Games.
There
is a
has
whole
to be
other
something.
Are we
beast.
getting a December PLE?
There's the Saturday night main event thing, so I feel like they'll do something special for that, but it's not a PLE.
Yeah.
I feel like they'll do something special for that, but I feel like if you're going, you have to, like, the seeds are there. The story, the background is already there. It's just how we get there in the now. And I feel like, 3 months, technically actually 4 months, because it's at the beginning of February. 4 months is a good time to build Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes. And you have nothing going on between War Games on the SmackDown brand anyway, because SmackDown is not on Netflix. You have really nothing besides Saturday night main events between Survivor Series and the Royal Rumble. That's a whole 2 months. That's a whole 2 months that you have to work with. And then, Cody retains and then goes on to face The Rock, most likely. This is, I feel like, the steps to set it up. Personally, that's just how I would do it. They could do something else in the meantime. I don't know.
Do we see The Rock?
I don't think we see Rock until the Netflix, personally. Or at least until Royal Rumble season. I don't think we see him before that, personally.
Okay.
Maybe the SmackDown after, again, assuming it happens, Randy or Cody beats Randy at Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
Possible. I feel like he has to return after that match because again, you don't want him to overshadow Cody's
Right, for
moment. So
everything. Yeah.
if you're
Hmm.
going to set up for Randy and Cody, Rock should not return until after that match happens, like the
Hmm.
SmackDown after or something.
That's
And
fair.
also Roman and Solo, if that's the Mania match, that's gonna be a long build. Like, what do you do? What do you do with Roman in the meantime? Like, he can face all the guys in the bloodline, or maybe do war games or something. But what do you do with Roman in the meantime then?
I have a controversial yet brave statement.
You think it might be Jacob? I feel like that's what you're gonna say.
For WrestleMania, it has to be either Jacob versus Roman or The Rock versus Roman. There's no way,
Mm.
and there's not a snowball's chance in hell that
Hmm.
anybody's gonna want to sit through a fucking Solo Sokola match, a singles
Yeah.
match at that at WrestleMania,
Hmm.
especially after how much he stunk it up at SummerSlam and just like this whole like I'm the new tribal chief like self-imposed stuff has not gone over well at all.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like
I don't think the
he
fans believe it at all.
legitimately, if they had redone everything they did with Solo Sokola except with Jacob Fatu, it would have hit.
Yeah.
Because Solo just doesn't have the aura. He didn't have it when he got called up. He didn't really get to build it in NXT. It just felt like, oh, Solo's here. LOL.
I feel like he had really high momentum up until, up until the Cena match last year at Survivor Series. Then after that, he went on what, a 32-34 match losing streak. Kind of after
But
that, I feel
how do
like
you beat
that's
John
when it
Cena
fell off.
clean and do nothing
Yeah,
with it?
that's what I'm saying. After that, it
I
kind of fell
know.
I mean,
off.
Austin
Yeah,
Theory, he didn't beat him clean, but I mean, that's a
yeah,
different story for a different day.
yeah,
But like, if you are given, like, hey,
yeah,
you're going over Cena clean on a pay per view,
yeah.
like that's supposed to be like, hey, we're strapping the rocket to you at some point. Like you got to be able to maneuver it to the moon. The fact that he's pretty much fallen flat on his face since is ridiculous.
Hmm.
So
Sorry, I meant to say I think it was Crown Jewel last year, not Survivor
yeah, it
Series.
was
But
Crown
so
Jewel.
so
Yeah,
it's been 11 months since that match. He went on a losing streak, like a 30 something match losing streak. And then he really didn't pick the momentum up until, after Roman lost. So it could be Jacob. It could be whatever. Um, Obviously, this is just the beginning, though, for Roman Reigns. I feel like after a while, Roman and Cody are going to go their separate ways until probably The Rock returns during Mania
Hmm.
season. Cody's going to focus on other opponents. But what do they do? Roman's going to be 4-on-1. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen.
But that's the
Um,
thing. Roman doesn't need to appear every week.
that's true. He
Like,
he he is appearing though a lot of the weeks in a row. Like they put out his schedule. He's appearing a lot of the weeks in a row. Like even leading up to because our SmackDown is at the beginning. What is it, November 8th or something like
yeah,
that? He's gonna be there. He's at a lot of them in a row. Surprisingly, so he'll be there pretty consistently, at least on SmackDown. Not obviously house shows.
hmm.
But we'll see. So I think we all have Cody and Roman going over here.
yes.
Hmm.
Okay. And then what happens after that is anyone's guess. Now, do we think I think it has to be Solo that gets pinned, right? It should not be Jacob, right?
It can't.
It
It
is
can't be
Solo
Jacob.
without a shadow of a
Okay.
doubt,
Okay.
and it's clean.
You think?
Yeah, Roman's gonna pin Solo clean with a spear.
Okay.
Oof, that gives me chills.
There'll be definitely some hijinks in this match. But yeah, as long as yeah, I could see it not being clean because there's bloodline matches are just so unpredictable. I agree it should be clean, but bloodline matches in it of themselves are just so unpredictable, much like Judgment Day matches. You never know what you're well, you do know what you're gonna get. You just don't know in what form. Anyways, though, that concludes our predictions. We had a little bit of differing stuff. I feel a little less confident now because going in, I didn't realize I had all the heels but Cody and Roman winning. But I'm gonna stick with my guns on this one because it's happened before where you have all the heels except like one win. It's happened before on PLEs or pay-per-views, whatever you want to call them. But before we head out of here, Collins, let the people know where they can find you on social media and support you.
Well, you can find me underscore queer auntie on all social media. I'm trying to boost up my Twitch, which unfortunately Twitch doesn't do underscores, so it's just Queer Auntie. But you can always look at the link in my bio, jump in. I really want to get those numbers up because I want to keep streaming because it's a lot of fun. But every Sunday morning, I'm over on Fightful Overbooked doing Wrestling Made Me Cry, where we talk about all the things that make us cry in wrestling. And then on Thursdays, we are talking about Ring of Honor. So we are doing a Ring of Honor post show. It is called Honor Ramble, where we have lately been rambling more than we've been talking about Ring of Honor. That's just kind of how the cookie crumbles right now. I got some other projects in the works, a lot of review shows, and probably doing a rewatch of the Mae Young Classic, in a hindsight kind of look a couple years later, what each of those women have been doing. But I really just want to watch really good
Taylor
wrestling.
Kelly and Mako Satomura. Oh,
Oh,
I hate that was in
Mercedes
the first round,
Martinez and Mako Satomura.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready to rewatch it because now watching them develop, I feel like I need to see it where it all began. You can find me on various other projects, but yeah, mainly go follow me on all socials because I got a lot of opinions to say and a lot of wrestling to talk about.
You're gonna say them.
I'm
You might
gonna
cry
say
during.
'em.
You might cry or laugh
Yeah.
during some of them, but you're gonna say them. Jose, let the people know where they can find you on social media.
I mean, I keep it unified everywhere. So Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, everything is Jose on the air. If you're feeling like you want to splurge on some merch, like this here little coffee mug here, it's shopjoseontheair.com.
Oh,
Got to do it up. We got
I want
t-shirts.
one.
I have a hoodie on the way. I have a mouse pad on the way. Stickers. I mean, there's something there. My guess at this time is going to be jam-packed for October. So chances are by the time this episode is up, my episode of my show with the guys between two beards, JPJ Loves Gaming and Pluggo, as well as Kimmy Sokol, the bane of my existence, will also be on my guess at this time for Bad Blood. We have other stuff coming up. We got Ella Jay's going to be on there with Emily May Heller talking AEW Wrestle Dream the following week. I got Ed Fries and Astrid Pizarro from OLE talking TNA Bound for Glory with me to start part of a doubleheader week before we get into finishing with NXT's Halloween Havoc with Flow of Wrestling Wind Down. So I'm going to be a predictions podcasting machine for the month of October. And I'm probably going to have the losingest record for the whole month anyways, but damn it, we're going to have fun.
You can't do much worse than Kimmy at Bound for Glory 2022.
I mean, I could go 0-8.
There's not 8 matches though on the cards.
I mean, for other shows, I can go 0 and whatever and just not have anything correct.
Much love, Kimmy.
Sure.
And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at It's Ella Jay. I will actually also be covering Bad Blood for Instinct Culture, so stay up to date there for the live report. If you can't watch it live, I got you covered with results. October is also my birthday month, so if you want to go to the link in my bio, my Amazon wish list is in there. And don't forget to follow me on all social medias. But if you're watching this, you probably already are. So thank you so much. And thank you to Jose and Auntie Collins for joining me here today for some Bad Blood predictions. Hopefully we'll keep a leaderboard on Twitter. We'll check in throughout the night to see who's doing well. We had some that were alike. We had some differences though. So we'll see who comes out on top between the three of us. And also follow Jose's his YouTube channel once it comes out, the episode. I'm interested to see how theirs shape up to ours. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Thank you guys so much again. And don't forget to check out Bad Blood on Saturday, October 5th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love that it's an hour earlier. God bless. Thank you so much again, guys.